Hello everyone and welcome back to J1 Aviation, day 20 already in our month-long journey talking about aircraft emergencies. So comment if you are 20 for 20. So yesterday we looked at pilot incapacitation, and today we're going to talk about a passenger medical emergency, right? Or maybe it's not even a passenger emergency, but something is going on with your friend, like maybe airsickness, right? Now, this will happen at some point if you spend enough time flying around with your friends. So today we'll talk about what to do if your friend isn't feeling well and how to potentially avoid this from happening. So this scenario might start out like this. You have a friend who is wanting to go flying with you and they've never been in a little airplane. So it's tough to find a spot when you are both available, of course, right? As well as the plane being available as well. But you find a spot in the middle of the afternoon on a nice summer day. Ceiling is good, it's a bit hazy, but it's your chance to take the flight. So initially your friend is excited, right? They're talking as you bounce around through the thermals on this warm afternoon, but then you notice like they aren't saying very much, right? And they're kind of just like staring into space out the window. Maybe they're starting to sweat a little bit. This is just one of many scenarios, right, that could lead to you having a passenger who becomes airsick. So your friend is sick. Now what do? So I think you want to mitigate the problem as best you can, and you can reassure them that you are going to get them on the ground as quick as possible. So how can you help alleviate the problem then? So you can distract them, right? Potentially give them something to do. Maybe they can listen to some music, or maybe they can focus off on the horizon. Maybe you have a cold water or Gatorade they can sip on, and hopefully you have an Airsick bag, right? Or some other bag or container which can double as one. And then fresh air always helps as well, right? If this is a summer day, any vents you can open, get some cooler air blowing on them. And maybe it's even worth having like some ginger candy or something in your flight bag, your aircraft, some little candy or something that they can suck on. That can help, right? And then, you want to reassure them that you'll get them on the ground as soon as possible, right? Now, here's where you need to actually do some decision making. If you are 20 minutes from being back home to your home airport, maybe that's the best decision rather than land at some intermediate airport that you were just like in the vicinity of. Now, if this is a true medical emergency and like 10 or 15 minutes can make all the difference, then by all means opt for the closer airport, right? Or airport most likely to have medical services available that you need. So then what could we have done differently to prevent our friend from getting sick in the first place? So maybe a couple of things, right? First, if someone hasn't flown in a general aviation aircraft before, you probably want to pick a nice calm day, potentially early morning or later in the evening, where the air is most likely to be smooth and will provide the best experience, right? The next thing I would say is something for like air sickness. The sooner you find out, the better, Had they told you right away they were starting to get queasy, you wouldn't have, shown them how good you were at steep turns or power on stalls, right? But in all seriousness, the sooner you find out, the better. Now the trick is getting, the passenger to actually admit that they aren't feeling well. A lot of times they might not want to share that information with you out of embarrassment, or it might make you feel bad, something you did, or possibly, any number of reasons. So you want them to be open with you, and you want to be open with your passengers, right? Even from a pre-flight briefing standpoint, anytime, let them know. Anytime you start to feel queasy, let me know as soon as possible, and then we can return to the airport. Or if it's, a child or a little kid, you can let them know. Anytime, you're not having fun anymore, let me know, and that's usually a pretty good gauge. So have you ever had a sick passenger on board? I certainly have. It's not fun. Fortunately, in my case, they were able to hold it together long enough to get back on the ground. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed day 20. So thanks for joining me on this month long as we work through different emergencies that you might encounter. Now, an airsick passenger, maybe that's not an emergency. If you have a passenger though who is blasting all over you and now you are starting to feel sick, it can quickly become an emergency. So take care, everyone. We'll talk to you tomorrow.